Proverbs 23:7 says, as a man thinketh, so is he. If a man who wants to be Virginia's top cop is fantasizing about putting 2 bullets in a Republican's head and then wishing that that man's children would die, I'm sorry, that's just sick. That is sick, and this man sounds like a radicalized lunatic. And to make matters worse, y'all, this dude is still leading in the polls statewide. I'm sorry, you don't have a candidate problem, you have a captivity problem. Jay Jones should absolutely drop out of the Attorney General's race in the Commonwealth of Virginia, but he won't. He probably won't because he's banking on 2 things. One, the far-left extremists, they love to hear violent rhetoric like this. This is their people. And then 2, sadly, I hate to say it, but he's black. He's black. And Jones knows, he absolutely knows that too many black voters are still addicted to the D. And more often than not, they don't give a darn what you do. As long as you've got that D behind your name, they will cast their vote for you no matter what. Let's get into this. Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I'm your host, April Chapman, and welcome to today's show. You guys, I need you guys to take a look at this.
Hi, I'm Jay Jones, Democrat running for Attorney General of Virginia, and we're going to talk about public safety. As the son of prosecutors and the father of 2 young boys, I've always believed that keeping our communities safe is the most important responsibility of any Virginia leader. And this week, I'm releasing my public safety plan. As Attorney General, I'll focus the office on stopping violent crime, supporting victims, and protecting our kids, not the MAGA extremism we're getting from Jason Miyares.
Several months later.
You said, according to the article, I'm quoting, Gilbert's wife could watch her own child die in her arms so that Gilbert might reconsider his political views. I can think of nothing more horrific than a mother having to hold her dying child. How can Virginians trust a man who said something so horrific, so callously?
Well, again, I am so deeply, deeply sorry for what I said, and I wish that it hadn't happened, and I would take it back if I could.
Coming up, an attorney general candidate in Virginia is apologizing for his texts about a state lawmaker. We'll go through what the messages said.
He should probably be forced to withdraw from the race, and probably is doing a lot there.
2 days ago, President Trump demanded Jay Jones of Virginia get out of the race for condoning political violence in a text message against a Republican politician a few years ago. He hasn't left the race. He hasn't dropped out. What's the president's reaction?
Well, as you know, I'm not at liberty to discuss political races from the podium. I think the president himself made his position very clear, and I think anyone could agree the messages that were sent by this Democrat nominee for Attorney General in Virginia are really shocking, alarming, and completely unacceptable. He was threatening to kill his opponent and his opponent's children, and that type of rhetoric has zero place in our country. And the president was absolutely right to condemn that.
The calls for hate and violence are coming from the mouths of the Democrat Party's leaders. And Jay Jones is just the most recent, and his wish for violent acts the most clear. So if you can't solve a problem, you can't name it, but I will. And here and now, the leadership of the Democrat Party has become consumed with hate.
So you had an opportunity to see that the Democrat candidate, Jay Jones, who is running for the top cop, the Attorney General for the state of Virginia, he sent texts back in 2022 saying that he would like to see Speaker Todd Gilbert shot, and that Gilbert's wife should watch her own children die so that he would move on policy. This man compared Gilbert to Hitler, which is a recurring theme that we keep seeing from the left. And he wrote that 3 people and 2 bullets, Gilbert should get 2, and then had the nerve to get on the news to say how he was deeply sorry, and if he could go back and take it back, he would. Lies. That is a lie. Okay? That wasn't a gaffe. And we know it wasn't a gaffe because in those text messages, the person he was texting was like, bro, You sound wild. You're scaring us. Bro, are you serious? And this fool doubled down. He doubled down. You guys, this is a glimpse into a darkened heart. The apology only came after the exposure. And so, this, though, is not just a one-off for this guy, okay? Because in that same year, this guy has some sort of anger management issues. He was caught going 116 miles per hour. Got a ticket for reckless driving. So we've got rage and recklessness. We got a whole 2-for-1 special mixed with some poor judgment. Y'all, this is the guy who wants to be Virginia's chief law enforcement officer. Talking about public safety and law and order. No, to me, he comes across when in his private time and who he really is, not the political facade that he puts on, as someone that is unstable, undisciplined, unfit, and a little crazy. That's just my opinion. But the thing is, we are living in a culture, you guys, that excuses this kind of behavior. Now, I know this is where I'm probably going to lose some folks, but I don't care. I'm going to say what needs to be said because it is the obvious. First of all, yes, Jay Jones should absolutely drop out. The question is, why hasn't he so far? The way the Democrats think and function, first of all, Abigail Spanberger is not putting on any kind of pressure for him to drop out outside of disavowal and saying, oh, it's tragic. He shouldn't have said that. That was just bad. There's no pressure for him to drop out. And it's because Black Democrats will still vote for him. She knows this and he knows this. They will line up like it's Communion Sunday to drink from the cup of their captors. The evil knows no bounds because they are addicted to the D. They will look away, ignore, and discard the heinous statements that this man made because they're addicted to the D. Okay? That Democrat label is their drug of choice, and they will defend it no matter how toxic it gets. Jay Jones knows this. He comes from a long line of prosecutors. He is counting, you guys, on the iron triangle. That's the Black apostate pulpit, the Black preacher, right? The Black politician, Black civil rights worker. He is counting on that pipeline to sanitize his sins and to secure his seat. He probably going to be in some Black church in a pulpit on Sunday. Oh, he's going to show up sweating through a sermon that's already full of false doctrine and heresy, making him out to be the victim, talking about grace and forgiveness and him oh so sorry. Right? We'll probably talk about all of us falling short of the glory of God and we need to put our arms around our brother because him didn't mean it. Right? The choir's going to shout amen and they're all going to march right back into that political bondage, the bondage that they love so much. And they will go in that voting booth and they will vote for him. I'm telling you, I could be wrong. He might drop out, but why hasn't he at this point? Why hasn't he dropped out? It's because he's got a plan. Because they are addicted to the D. He knows that all he has to do is show up to some Black church, which is that one arm of that iron triangle. He's going to show up in the Black pulpit. He's going to try to sanitize what he said. And they're going to lay hands on him, put their loving arms around him. He's going to show up at some apostate church in Virginia. And that right now he needs our support. And they're going to vote for this guy, regardless of the fact of all the heinous things that he said. Now, I want to be wrong. I actually want to be proven wrong, but I don't think I will. Just like they're going to vote for Abigail Spanberger blindly, they're going to vote for Jay Jones blind. And this is not about loyalty, y'all. This is a textbook case of Stockholm Syndrome. They have fallen in love with their oppressors and they cannot imagine freedom without the chains. But the reason why this is not just politics, y'all, there's a spiritual root to this. And one of the aspects of this is idolatry. When you are putting trust in a political party more than the Prince of Peace, you will build your own golden donkey. Instead of a golden calf, we're going to call it the golden donkey, right? The Bible says that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Jay Jones' text messages show his heart. This is how he feels. And the people that are defending him are showing theirs as well. And if they're not defending him, right? But they're not calling for him to drop out, is letting you know that the wickedness that we already knew was endemic of the left runs way more deeper than most people are willing to admit, right? These people don't want help. They want to be comforted in their wickedness. They're not interested in the truth. They want tranquilizers. And like I'm always saying, some folks you can't help. However, my channel exists to help the ones that we can. Romans 1. I've been in the book of Romans a lot. But it talks about in Romans 1, when people reject the truth, God does something. He gives them over to a debased mind. That is where we are right now. They'll call evil good. So as long as they can't even recognize violence as evil, even when it's in blackface. Remember, the Democrat Party is still the party of oppression, depression, and secession, right? So there is no morality. They're void of that. They're void of morality, void of decency, and they are not from God because of the policies that they support. So what do? What do people like us do? We expose it, right? We cannot let these high priests of hypocrisy in the media bury this story. So we got to share videos like this far and wide. I am not the only content creator who has covered this, but you need to be educating. If you have friends and family in Virginia, you need to educate them and say, listen, there's going to come a time when you might have to be on the other side of the law, where you need a prosecutor who is impartial and is going to enact justice based on righteousness and not off of his violent propensities to hate his political opponents. This guy is unfit to lead in public service. And so because you may be on the side where you need him to prosecute justly, if you put him in office, we have no guarantees that he will do that, because character matters. Character matters. If we do not break this cycle of dependency, and if we continue to elect people who are showing you who they are, that they are absolutely oppressive and evil and wicked, calling for the death, not just of the opponents, but of the children. The children, I told you all these people hate kids. That is not justice. We are looking at, because he is the poster child for this, I have to call this Jerome Crow. It is Democrat plantation politics in 2025 packaging. Jay Jones can issue press release after press release until his fingers cramp up and he's blue in the face. But until the people who enable men like him wake up, Virginia is going to be ruled by an unrepentant, wicked, protected, unprincipled melomaniac. So yes, Jay Jones should drop out the race. But he probably won't. I wanted to come here with better news, but he probably won't, because too many are addicted to the D. The D still stands for delusion. And my job is to wake up the few who still want to be free. And if the Democrat Party of Virginia had any decency, they would tell his little bald-headed behind that, listen, sir, we loved you. We thought you was our golden child, but you need to step aside, because clearly you have some anger issues that you need to work out, and you cannot do so and be the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And so I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Do you think that Jay Jones just was having a lighthearted conversation between colleagues and he was just a little jokey? Or do you believe, nah, he wasn't joking? Because even when the person he was texting asked him, was he serious? He doubled down, which demonstrates this is how he really feels. He expected the person receiving the text message to co-sign it. And the fact that he was exposed is the only reason why he's apologetic. But he believes, because he thinks like this, he believes that all of the Democrats think this way. Why wouldn't you agree? He felt comfortable saying what he said because he didn't think he was going to get the pushback. But look how God shines the light, gives someone a conscience to say, look at these darn text messages. The truth has to come to light. And so I'm curious to know what you guys think. Share this video to educate your friends and family and loved ones and colleagues and whoever else in Virginia that you need to put pressure. This guy needs to drop out. I ain't no way I would want to be on the receiving end of his justice. Because if your justice doesn't align with his worldview. He does not have the ability to be impartial. And this is absolutely an offense that should force the Democrats to disavow him and tell him, you need to drop out because you are damaging the Democrat Party's brand. I don't know how it could get any more damaged, but they definitely need to push and give pressure to tell him to drop out. So until next time, you guys, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.